5th, 2021 at 6:31 p.m. The first order of business is public comment. Do we have any public comment? Okay, not hearing any. The next thing is the approval of meeting minutes. Before we have our standard motion, I noticed from the last meeting that Susie isn't there as present. And if I see that she made motions, so she must have been there. So if I could just have somebody I could entertain a motion just to add Susie as present at our last meeting. So we can amend
Moved.
them.
Kathy.
Second, Julie.
Okay, thank you, Julie. Josh, can you do a quick roll
Thanks,
call?
guys.
Thank
Sorry
you.
about that, Susie.
Do a quick roll.
Yep, Nate,
Aye.
Kathy,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Susie,
Yes.
Julie.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion was approved.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now moving on, we can entertain a motion to approve the minutes if there are no other changes to it.
Kathy, motion to approve.
Julie, second.
Okay, Nate,
Aye.
Kathy,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Susie,
Yes.
Julie.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion was approved.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on to new business, the 2022 budget resolution discussion. I know that you know that some of us met as a subcommittee with Tony, and then we met by ourselves afterwards. Tony, do you know, has the town council given you anything as far as their ideas?
Okay. This is how the procedure works. Bill Wood sponsored it.
Yep.
Put in your packet, doesn't look like it was, I don't know if you got the full FY21 budget resolution document. Have you folks?
I don't know as a full committee, Tony. I believe you shared it with us at that subcommittee meeting we had.
All right, so no one else distributed a full copy when it was referred to the finance committee.
No, not to my knowledge.
All right.
I say I did
So-
not, because I don't remember the meeting being a line item last year. And this year we just had like a verbal conversation to my recollection.
Yeah, so you know, unfortunately, that's a downfall there. So I'm gonna send you a copy of last year's, all right?
Mhm.
You know,
So-
one thing that,
Tony, that's the 2021 one that was approved?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because every year what we've done is started on it. And so this is how it's worked. Bill was an initial sponsor of that, Bill Wood, many years ago. And they sponsored it. It's just a resolution. A resolution is a guideline, okay? It's not a bylaw, it's not a charter item, and it's not an order. It's a resolution. So it's a guide so that we can all form around that guide. So it's evolved with my input with Bill, and then taking that information and bringing it to the finance committee when we used to have our sporadic meetings, as you know, Nate, right?
yep,
And so we were able to bring it together and evolve it slowly, okay? In the charter, the town manager is required to provide a balanced budget submitted on 4/1 each year. Okay? Unless he gets approval by them to postpone it. So the framework is very, I would say, malleable in that sense from what the finance committee, so the finance committee's role, just like the budget finance committee, is to review money articles. That's the old terminology, orders, and submit their recommendation. Because this is part of the budget process, it was then referred to the finance committee. But we never had a full complement of finance committee members to talk about this. So the document was mostly shaped by the budget and finance subcommittee and me working with them. Me representing the town manager as the finance director as to what were some of the other components. So what I took back from the meeting I had with the subcommittee was it was yourself, Nate, Lily was there, and Eric. The message I got was, Tony, there's some other areas that we may want to expand upon that we've followed as a rule or a practice, but we may want to get more specific. Example, the ambulance receipts, right? And last year they let go of the vote that was required by council to approve an amount over $1 million because that was found its way into the resolution document. And so that was a change that occurred last year. This is what myself and the town manager spoke today extensively about this. What we'd like to do is what I got for feedback and the sense that I've gotten over the last few years working with different factions of this finance committee, but certainly the budget and finance subcommittee, and come back and take what was there last year and spell it out more clearly, the intent of, and I was working on my outline. So once you get below the top level document that you folks have in front of you that was referred to you, so you have a component of this resolution, correct?
We have nothing, Tony.
Oh, no, that was issued to you. I saw it referred.
Yeah, no, Tony, but it's just it's like, 3 or
Yes,
4
that's-
bullets.
That's the top portion of the policy.
Exactly. But the meat isn't in there.
No, I got that. I just want to make sure you got that. I'm
Oh,
just,
okay, all right. I thought you were
I'm just
talking
trying to
about,
get us on the same page.
No,
I thought-
we got that a few weeks ago.
Okay.
I thought you were saying there was a full-bodied one. Okay,
No. I just want to make sure we're starting at the same point. So,
thank you.
so I'm going to pull up and send to you folks the full resolution from last year, because that's where our conversation, Nate, started last time.
Yep.
I was unaware that you didn't get the full document. That should have been referred to you by council, and you should have got the full document. All right. Do you have a copy of the full document in your hand, Nate?
I
Does
don't,
Josh? Does anyone have it?
I did not have a copy.
Tony, are you talking about the 2021 full document?
That's correct.
Yeah, so I have it in my files. I would have to go pull it up, but we had it from last year.
All right. So what I'm
Right.
saying is that the way that document's evolved is when I came in 2015, it had X, A, B, and C on it. And then in 16 and 17, it evolved a little bit more. So the document has just evolved.
Yep.
Hasn't been completely rewritten. It's just been tweaked and or additional content put in there. So I'm pulling it up from last year right now.
So last year, we did provide feedback. I mean, we had a meeting and we talked about it. I know I had a bunch of notes and we provided feedback in 2021.
Yes, and I met with your subcommittee 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Okay,
That's what I'm trying to get at. I don't know that this group is on the same page with where we're at.
well,
Nate,
Tony, we have some newer members. I think that it's not so
So
much.
do you want me to explain? So you're looking for me to explain how the process worked last,
Well, that's it. I mean, where are we in the process right now? Is
waiting
what
for
I
your
wanna know, because-
feedback? Okay, after that meeting
Yeah.
that we had, I was looking for feedback. You guys were going to meet again. with-
We did meet again
Okay,
afterwards. So it says, I'm not too hung up on that, Tony. I'm just worried about the process right now. So I would think that we need to have a meeting with the town council budget subcommittee, correct? Have a combined meeting? Don't we traditionally do that too?
yeah, this is, I think, Nate, you and I need to have an offline meeting discussion.
All right. Okay.
Because this is easy peasy. If we just follow what we did last year, Kathy was part of a group. They met, they gave feedback on the document. The information was incorporated into it, was drafted up for you. It was sent back to you. It was sent back to the budget subcommittee for review. There was a joint meeting to start the budget season and it got finalized.
Yep. I get that. I'm not disagreeing with that at all.
So what I haven't gotten back is any feedback from you guys that I can bring to the town manager about what you'd like to see in the document.
Okay. Now, so I guess this is my question. Where are we in the timeline for this all being done, Tony? When would this
Okay,
go?
so one of the things I wanted to do tonight, again, maybe you and I should have a pre-meeting, especially during budget season.
Yeah.
Because I think what it is a little new to you. We have a draft of a timeline for the budget season that I wanted to review with your entire group.
Okay, sounds good.
It's looking for feedback. Because you're gonna have to schedule your meeting. So typically I would have had that conversation with Eric, or Eric would have had that conversation with Michael.
Okay. All right, so one thing I will say to the committee, what we took away, we did meet with Tony and then we met a second time. And correct me if I'm wrong, Julie, but one of the things, you know, in the past, this town, there was a giant hole when I started on this committee. All right, as far as the budget was concerned, it was a crater. And we have gotten to the point because of the stewardship of people like Tony and the town manager, where we saved money, right, Tony?
Yes.
And that was unheard of. If we wouldn't have that conversation 8 years ago. So one of the things that we were talking about as a subcommittee is that we would maybe like to see a little more money spent on the town employees, right? Especially like our DPW is woefully understaffed here in the town. So that was one of the takeaways that we took, that we wanted to discuss with the full committee right now, that were our thought process. And how would we?
Okay, so in the, again, if you had the full document, the last 4 items of the document includes the town manager's budget objectives. That's why I need this document. So clearly what I think you're looking for is some stewardship on the process this year and kind of mapping out the sequencing of the activities. That's what I'm getting now.
Yep, that's part of it, Tony. Yep.
Because I think there's a place for you to plug in and do all of that.
Okay.
Do it in multiple places.
Yep.
One place you can do it is in the budget resolution and say you'd like something spelled out as it relates to the maintenance budget. So the council members at a series of meetings have said to the town manager, we need a better building maintenance budget. Okay. Highway department. We have added positions to the highway department last year. We haven't been able to fill it. We can talk about that. We've incrementally increased that. We've increased their operating budget. But if you guys wanted to see more there, then you would be able to put that recommendation into the order, the resolution. You could say what the finance committee feels. Again, this is just a resolution. And then at the bottom, the town manager would have his objective. And again, ultimately, he's responsible for making sure we have a balanced budget. But there's enough back and forth in that process. As Kathy suggested, last year they made the recommendations. This year you'll make recommendations, and we'll bring it together. And then the question is, who writes the recommendations? Is it written by the finance committee and then written by the budget? Are we looking to change that process? It's been just a very informal back and forth consensus document that you would then vote on, and so would the budget subcommittee for the council. That's how it's gone.
So I have a question. So to me, I guess when I think about the budget resolution document, I think of it as like an overarching guideline for the budget process almost. And I guess I don't necessarily think that we have to put in like we want more DPW or, you know, like those conversations about maintenance and other areas to focus on. They could go in there as a focus, but those conversations can also happen as we're looking at the budget that we get and making our review of it and making recommendations about whether we want to see money moved around, or I know we can't add money to it because it has to be balanced and all that, but that's true, right?
Yes, Kathy, that's a great example. But one thing on an overarching statement that was in there last year was, when it came to expenditures, we did add some elements in there that said, we have to really monitor the cost drivers that push the budget higher each year, and we all know. And then we also say we need to maintain our capital assets. And so there was a bullet speaking to,
Yeah.
in order to protect the infrastructure. And so this year, I'm going to expand on that a little bit more, because the message that the town manager was getting from council is, we have buildings that we need to have a full-blown maintenance program on.
Mhm.
We'll be using the same methodology for repairs, and it isn't repairs, it's replacement. It's not a really solid, well thought out maintenance plan, and that's not in the budget. So maintaining of capital assets became a little bit more of a focal point last time. It didn't get into exactly the dollars, but it said, hey, we really want to make sure we're focusing on maintaining these assets, and this is why we want to do this.
Yeah, that's what I meant, sort of a more overarching, like, it's about the maintenance of the assets. It's about the
Yes.
maintenance of our roads and
Yes,
DPW, as opposed to like, we want the DPW to have more money. I think those are the conversations that we talk about once we sort of see the budget, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
you know,
where I know I'm kind of splitting hairs, but I'm just trying to,
no,
like,
that's how I see the process, correct.
okay, because I want to keep us, like, I don't want us to get so far in the weeds that we can't accomplish getting the resolution done. They're all good things, but it's not the only time I guess they can happen, is what I'm thinking.
yeah,
I think
and, you know, I think that, my point, I guess, is being lost here, because we're going down tangents that I had no intention of going down, to tell you the truth. All right. It
So
is.
why don't we regroup, Nate? Why don't you tell me what it is you're after?
Well, you know what, I was just trying to figure out really where we were in, the process as far as the committee actions and everything else. What sort of timeline we were working at, Tony?
All right, I can give you a timeline. That was on my agenda tonight, to really see what's going on, in the budget resolution was on the timeline.
Yep.
I think, Nate, I thought when the budget subcommittee met, or that it was more about not directly telling them how to spend it, but maybe, I know when we did the resolutions last year, it was about what percentage were we saving?
Yep,
I thought there was
yep.
some scratching last year between 1.25% versus 1.5%.
Yep.
Tony, do you remember? I don't know.
Absolutely, and that's it's really frustrating me, is that you guys don't have this document, and
Right, no, so that's what I'm saying. So I think Nate, like I said, maybe it got misconstrued when he tried to send that message. It wasn't like, Kathy, like we were trying to say exactly what to spend. It's just like, what dollar value are we saving, so that we know how much we are gonna spend type, I think. At least that was my interpretation.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't trying to say that we need to add somebody here or somebody there. That wasn't what I meant at all. Because it is an overarching document, and it's a guidepost, right? A guideline that we use. We do have some newer members, we do have newer members here, so it's good that we have this conversation so that they can learn about what this is for. Part of it this year too was, in the past, because we had such a hard time doing a quorum, there wasn't much input from this committee. If we were lucky to get a quorum, and then we had the resolution in front of us, and we essentially rubber stamped it. And that's what we're trying to avoid now.
Yeah, and I think without
I
saying,
disagree with that statement. I didn't rubber stamp anything.
Kathy, yeah, I get that. I'm not saying just last year. I've been on this committee for prior to the budget resolution. You know what I'm saying? And we had many times where we didn't have any input. And so moving forward, we're trying to have more input.
I think some had more input than others. At any rate, I'm attempting to find the budget resolution document for the order last year for you guys, because clearly you don't have it. What I'd like to do,
Well, you know, Tony,
I have someone on right now, Michelle Rhoda. She's listening in and she's going to do some research to see if she can find that. I need to know, you guys need to know what the calendar is. Tell me how you want to do it. You want me to just email the draft to you?
why don't you do that, Tony? Why don't you and I have an offline discussion like you suggested?
Okay.
Okay. I know that in the past, last year, when we discussed the resolution, was it a combined meeting? Do we remember? Was it the
I
town
think you
council
might have
budget
finalized it
subcommittee?
then.
Were they with us too?
I think you finalized it then, if I recall last year. But
I think we each last
Okay.
year, like we did our recommendations, the town council had some recommendations, and then you, Tony, put it all together for us. And
That's it.
then I think we finalized it.
that was it. It was,
Yeah.
yep. And we did add some
Yeah, and
things
last,
here.
yep, last year was the first year that we really did that, right, Tony?
All right, I think
Mm,
Yeah, had that much.
I found the document. I'm gonna send
Nice.
it to you right now. I usually don't keep a copy of it because it's the, I'm gonna send it to Josh. And he can distribute it. If you wanted to look at it now, I will. If not, you got it, okay?
Great, thank you.
Okay.
All right, does anybody have anything else at this time on this? Julie, how about you? You, what are your thoughts?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Do you have any thoughts on this right now, what we're discussing?
No, just what we said. Like I said, I was surprised that we didn't have the document, and it's shame on me for not asking for it because I was at last year's meeting, and, you know, that's what I expected to see and be going through. But, you know, once we get that, I think we'll be able to move forward. You know,
Yeah, you know,
like,
I don't know.
sorry, Tony, that we didn't have it sooner, that we didn't request it.
Yeah, and I apologize for being impatient. I'm just not having a good day today, so.
No,
Yeah.
we're not impatient. Like I said, we shouldn't have had 2 meetings without it, so it's all good.
And Tony, like I said, I just, the timeline, I didn't know what sort of time pressure we were
Yeah.
under. That's,
And I'm
that
gonna
was
send
my-
to Josh, again, this is a draft because we really want your input on your schedule. We created this that includes what the council has to do for voting the budget, what we're doing internally, the school's dates, and we're giving you this so you can kind of look into it and know where your schedule is gonna be, okay?
All right, awesome. I appreciate it.
Can I just make one comment since you mentioned the schools? Last week, at the joint meeting, I think Kathy asked what the school may be looking for, and Derek gave it, or somebody gave a 3.7 number, which we all know is not probably going to happen. But just so that they're clear, when the school department gives that number, or school district, it normally is the beginning, not the end number. You know, they always start with like the best case scenario, and then their subcommittee meets and dwindles it away, just like we're going to do with, you know, just like the town's going to do with theirs. So I don't want anyone to think that 3.7 at the joint meeting is the end all, because it hasn't been in the experience, in my experience as a resident, school committee member, as a taxpayer, et cetera, et cetera.
Just my insight was that 3.72 did not include all those additional positions.
Okay, I didn't know that, so that's good
Yeah,
to
the
know.
3.72 was to meet contractual obligations and
Gotcha.
kind
All
of
right.
Oh,
levels.
yeah, I'm really glad you point that out, Tony. That's really important to understand.
Yeah, and that's what I do a lot with the new members is I like to be the interpreter because I have to pay attention because
Yeah,
whether it's 3.72 or 5.72. And not that you guys don't pay attention, but I got to get to that level of
Right.
at any time. And I just sent a calendar which actually speaks to their meetings and their subcommittee meetings and all of that.
Right.
So I'd like to be that person that can answer those questions during this budget process.
Right, because I did follow up with that question. Like, I know that some positions, like they said, special ed are mandated, but other positions like the helping out Kathy Macedo, et cetera, where it was new, I wasn't familiar with what the salary was going to be, and I know that they were going to look into that. I just didn't ask it in the joint meeting. I asked it after the meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, I think last year, for the new people, I think last year they started, I want to say it was like around 8 positions or something, or 9 positions at this sort of stage of the game. And I think they came down to 2 or 3. I don't remember, but exactly, I could probably go back and find it. But when the superintendent provides the budget at this time, my understanding is that budget is really like a big wish list budget. And then the budget subcommittee from the school committee actually reviews it, sort of calls it down, makes determinations about what are priorities and what aren't priorities, the top priorities, I guess I should say. And then what gets presented to the town at that public hearing is not the same budget as they talked about at the meeting last week.
Right. Except for if Tony's saying it didn't include the new positions, it
No.
could be higher.
Yeah.
No, but Julie, what
I
I'm
think
saying
Kathy's
is,
saying the same thing, correct, Kathy?
Right.
I am. So what I'm saying is last year at this point, the budget was like 10 point something percent over the year before. And then it
Yes.
got whittled back down to 3.9 or whatever it was, right?
Right.
So that budget that the superintendent talked about at the last town council meeting was that like high, include everything that anybody asks for, wish list type of budget.
Mhm.
And that is not what they typically present when they present it to the town at the public hearing.
Correct.
So, and I don't know if this is the right place to ask that. Why would that have been presented in that joint meeting then? Why would there not be their own district subcommittee budget meeting to call down happen first?
I don't know, Susie, but I think that I've not ever seen them present a budget at the joint meeting. I think this is only the second year we've done that.
Oh, okay.
But I did last year sort of follow through the process and attend some of those budget meetings. And I think that's just the way their process goes. And so by the time it gets through, they have multiple meetings now, the budget subcommittee. And by the time they present it back to the full committee, and then it gets presented to the town as a, what do you call it? When they're a public meeting, a public hearing, basically.
The public, yeah.
It's well whittled down because they know they're not going to get a 10 or 12% increase.
Yeah. Although I could see, like, as the superintendent's a public official, I could see where it would make some sense to have on public record of what his proposal is. And then the next, just so basically the community can see what his thinking is and what his true needs are. And then understand from there how the process, plays out. So I could see it both ways. I was just curious. Thanks.
Susie, to give you a little bit more historical perspective, that's the first time that's ever really happened to that extent. That meeting went completely different than how it has gone this year's.
Yeah, I think a certain councilman
Okay.
asked a question, and in response to that question is where you got some more numbers.
Huh.
Right,
Just
that was
kinda put on the spot.
usually what happens is the town manager will speak to kind of set the stage. And then the school would speak because they're almost 50% of the budget. And,
Right.
and he would absolutely speak, and then he would then highlight some of the challenges and some of the new positions that he may be seeking based on their needs-based budget. And so that part of it is, but there was what was different, the stage that typically is set by the town manager, and then what we think we're going to have for revenue sharing is typically step one, and then things cascade from there. It kind of went in reverse this year.
Hmm, Okay.
I guess it would be nice to have maybe like a, or maybe at one of our joint meetings, maybe we could talk about like how that went and how we would think it might go in the future.
You're a financial body. You have every right to your opinion.
All
So,
right, so do we have anything else on the budget resolution discussion right now?
so now I just want to make sure you got it, Josh, and Josh, you've distributed last year's FY21 to everyone, correct?
Yep, I sent both emails.
Okay.
I got it.
What I have been asked to do by the time manager is to look at the bullets that are, and you're gonna, I have some suggested or recommended areas for either clarification or further expansion. I'm putting those notes together based on the town manager and my discussion. You tell me when it would be appropriate to review those with you, whether it be in a meeting, whether I send it to you in advance. Just advise me after this meeting has how you would like my and the town manager's input.
Great, thank you, Tony.
Okay.
Anybody else?
No, thank you for the documents. This is
Yes, I
great.
got them too. Thank you.
Yep, I
Yeah.
got them, Tony. Yep.
This is extremely helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, anybody else? Okay, let's get to the exciting stuff here. We have a couple of orders. The first one that I have is, let me show you, do this in order here, is order FY21-027, transfer order, employee contractual buyout. Tony, what can you let us know?
Sick leave buyback per contract. It represents, except for the Council on Aging, that was more of a separation pay that was due. And what I mean by that, it had some other components besides sick leave buyback. That was just one of them. But the library and the police are both sick leave buyback. One half of what's due the employee. One half is due upon separation and one half is due 1 year from separation.
Okay, does anybody have any questions?
I'll give a context for new members if you'd like me to.
Yeah, I would please. Yeah, I'm thinking that they would,
Yeah.
that would be great, Tony. Thank you.
Good. So for new members, if we go back years upon years, and I'll try to keep this short, but fundamentally, one of the things that when you became a municipal employee, the structure of contracts for bargaining units was, we can't pay you a lot of money, but we're going to work to make sure we pay for retirement. And if you get sick, we don't have a lot of sick time, but we will allow you to bank sick days so that you could use that as a, let's call it what it was, a somewhat savings account in case you went out for an extended leave, because way back when they didn't have the standard workers' comp like they have 111F now. So I'm talking mostly of the emergency departments. But just think of the history as something has kind of evolved where sick leave buyback was a benefit that had its time, and time has passed that benefit. Okay. So to move when you're dealing in contracts to bargain in good faith, we have bargained out sick leave buyback. And in each contract, you'll find it got bargained out at certain times. And what does that mean? If an employee was hired after a certain time, then they are not eligible for the sick leave buyback benefit. Okay. If you were hired 30 years ago, then you were under the old bargaining agreement for sick leave buyback, which was basically half of what you had in the bank for sick leave, you could get paid out at time of retirement. Half first installment, half second installment. So it's kind of like quick history of how sick leave buyback evolved and how it's being de-evolved out of the contracts, but we're in that in between time frame. And so this is a financial obligation, a legal obligation, and these individuals were under a contract that allowed for 50% of their sick leave back. Or sick leave. Does that make sense to Chris? I know this is might be new to you.
Yeah, Tony, I appreciate that additional context. And just for my own, I don't know, do we have an idea of like how much further out we have until, you know, these grandfathered, so to speak, employees?
Sure. We're in the process. We hired a new payroll individual and we're going through all of our calculations. Yes, it's substantial. We could see between 750 and 800,000 over the next 5 or 6 years.
Wow.
But we're putting out our second quarter report, financial information, and we're going to have that in our third quarter report as a standard page that shows what we have for our liability. And we'll have it by employee number, certainly not employee name, but we'll have it there so that everyone can see what that liability looks like over the next 3 to 5 years.
Okay, thank you. Great question, Chris. Thank you. Anybody else? Any comments, discussion? Do we have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the order.
Please just state your name, Chris.
Chris Blunt.
Do we have a second? I can't make.
Kathy second.
Thank you,
Sorry.
Kathy. I can't make motions, everybody.
I couldn't mute fast enough, unmute fast enough, sorry.
All right, thank you. So Kathy seconds. Josh, can we have a roll call?
Yep. Nate,
Aye.
Kathy,
Yes,
Chris,
Yes.
Susie,
Yes.
Julie.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion was approved.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to FY 21-028, acceptance of a private donation. This looks pretty straightforward. Tony, any insight, context?
No, sometimes the town just gets an anonymous donation of $500 and says, gives the town manager the authority. As you can see, private donation 500 from Pine Street resident for the Bridgewater Gift Fund. So the town manager can choose to spend it on behalf of the town as he sees.
thank you, resident.
All right. How is that money typically spent? How does he typically use it, Tony?
We usually don't get 500 here. What he would typically do, he would look for the Recreation Commission or the Council on Aging, those commissions that could use those funds for their programs. That's typically where that type of money would go. It wouldn't go to any piece of small equipment or for supplies or anything. It would go to something to enhance a program in those culture and recreational areas.
All right. Is there anything in that fund now, or will it soon be?
Nominal amounts,
Okay.
nominal. In so much that I don't even know how much. If there was a lot, I would know.
All right. Anybody else have any
They
questions?
they spend it up because we have so much going on right now, which is
Oh, yeah.
ridiculous. I know the Council on Aging is doing a ton of stuff.
Aren't they?
Motion to approve, Kathy.
They certainly.
Second, Julie.
Did you get that, Josh?
Yep.
Okay. A roll call, please.
Nate,
Aye.
Kathy,
Yes,
Chris,
Yes.
Susie,
Yes.
Julie.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion was approved.
Okay, thank you, everyone. We do have some other stuff. Kathy, I did pass on your request to Tony, and he did get back in touch with me. That was that email I sent you, Tony.
Yeah, was that on the Capitol? Is that what you were referring to?
yeah, it's slide 14, I think it is, Tony.
Okay, so the reason I hesitated, because we're compiling that all, and we're gonna get that done within the next 30 days, and we will have our latest and greatest. And if we could ask your patience, this has been a crazy,
But it looks like it was just like an Excel spreadsheet. There's like a plus sign. You can't just expand it and send it to us?
I can, but it's not, I have to make sure the information has integrity on it, Kathy.
Well, it was presented at town council.
As in total,
Yeah.
I was comfortable with the in total. I haven't had a chance to get back to that. We've met with every single department to make sure we have that accurate.
All right.
Decided to take things off it. I got funded through Kathy, there's been so much change with COVID. We've been able to take advantage of COVID and CARES Act money to do remote work. And I know it seems like a push of a button, but if I gave you that information, I would say 50% of it could be wrong. Because it's changed so much in the last year. But it's not gonna go down. So I was comfortable in presenting that as a total, not in detail.
All right, but sometime in the future, near future.
No,
here,
no,
you'll
it's
feel
gonna, it's going to be before, that's one of the things the town manager wants to see. We're gonna make sure the 5-year forecast and the capital plan are submitted 30 days prior to the budget being submitted.
Okay.
So we are now on the 25th. That's why I say you will have that 30 days prior to the town manager's budget being submitted. And it will be something I can show you all the detail.
Okay, great, thank you. Anything else on this topic right at the moment? All right, if we could just shift gears real quick, in our joint meeting, one thing that, we brought up was having somebody, a member of this committee that can, sit in on their meetings, like they have somebody sit in on our meetings. And I think that would really help. In the past, it was almost like there was, the two sides frankly didn't trust each other. And nowadays, I'm really impressed with the schools and how they seem to be, are quite open and transparent now with us. And I think it would be helpful for this committee if we did have somebody that sat in on their meetings on a regular basis and could let this committee know what their discussions are. Now, I'm not saying, somebody volunteer tonight, but if there is somebody that'd be interested in doing that, I think that would be very helpful for this committee. Any other thoughts on that?
Is there anything, do you mean specifically for school budget or for the town council's budget subcommittee?
No, the school budget subcommittee.
Okay.
I believe we have Mr. Florence on with us right now. There's always somebody from that committee that's, listening and understanding what we're doing. And it'd be nice if we could reciprocate that relationship.
Gotcha, thanks.
So this person would also participate like in the joint meetings with the town manager, the representative from the school committee. So we would have a seat at that table as well.
Are we talking about the same thing or two different things?
I think it's just an extension of it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I really think that the more interaction we have, with both the town council and with the school, it's just beneficial to the town and the citizens that, we serve here. And I think it would maybe fill in a lot of gaps that we have sometimes. We ask questions, what's going on the school side, and we don't know, right? But I would, in the short, no, yes. So I would say yes, Kathy. Anybody else?
Thank you.
Okay, so like I said, if if the members of the committee could think of that, and if somebody would like to step forward, just let me know. Just reach out to me. We'll go from there. How about anything else that we have under additional committee discussion? Anybody have anything?
So I think we talked about having the town manager join us so we could talk about the High Street Dam and where that process is now and what the expectation is, and give us an update on what came out of the approval of the funds that we did for the preliminary work on not the dam itself, but the road leading up to the bridge or something. I forget exactly, but we had approved like $75,000 for that preliminary engineering, I think.
Yeah, I remember that. Mhm.
So I think that's why that's on there, that we wanted to have it be an item on our agenda and have the town manager come and give us a full update on that.
Yep, you know, and I did reach out to him, and I heard nothing back on that, Kathy.
Can I make a
could-
suggestion
Sure, Tony.
that your committee send an email directly to the town manager and CC myself? And I will make sure that we have a conversation and ask that he attend and put it on the agenda as an agenda item, and we'll get it done.
All right. You know, that
Thank
kind of
you.
thing. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I know with a couple meetings ago, we did talk about, Tony talked to us about the historical financial data for the golf course and the transfer station.
Yeah, I got some good news on that.
Oh, okay.
That's because we finally hired someone a year later. It's taken that long to get a candidate. We had to change kind of our recruitment, but we got someone that's helping me, and we are reviewing the historical data for golf, transfer station, water, sewer, making sure that it has integrity. And we're starting to develop some graphs, and we're going to overlay for the golf in particular rounds, 9-hole rounds, 18-hole rounds, cart rounds, and so forth. And we will be able to present something to you prior to the operating budget discussion for those enterprise funds.
Awesome. Can I ask a question? So I see people golfing there. I drive by there like 4 times a week in the afternoon.
Yep.
And I see people golfing there. Are we open in the winter?
Yes,
Are we
we are. As
getting-
long as they'll go out there and play, we'll take their money.
I was gonna say, are we actually collecting funds or are they just
Oh,
golfing?
no. We collect every dollar.
Yeah, I didn't know, because some like private courses close, you know?
Yeah, there you go. The first, the I think operative word is private.
Right. No,
And I
I'm
say
glad
that
to
because
hear.
our maintenance staff is there doing, this is when they do maintenance on all their equipment. They do their own maintenance. They have lifts. The assistant golf pro, who really is more like a manager, he works during the winter. So we're there, although in a skeleton crew, but when the weather's good enough and people book tee times, we are there collecting their money.
Nice. I've seen a lot of people golfing this winter.
No, I agree, Kathy. I go there quite a bit myself, and it seems like it's been pretty busy.
And I was saying, oh, I hope we're getting something out of that.
Absolutely.
It is unusual for a course to be open. That was the high school job I had over at Pine Oaks, and generally you close down during the winter.
It's funny, the winters, I've played myself, the winters have changed.
They have, yeah.
If it's 42, as long as it's over 40, you're gonna see me out there playing golf. So anyway, my two
You
cents.
know,
That's
one-
definitely revenue being generated.
yeah. And I know one thing that you said that kind of stuck with me last time we talked about the transfer station. It's really, you know, unless we're willing to go all in and do a complete change down there.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, turning this, I call us the aircraft carrier, Bridgewater, and we still haven't made a full 180. We're about 2/3 in our turn towards running this whole operation like a business. I can tell you that fundamentally is we don't have, and it's necessarily so because we have to watch every single nickel and dime we spend. We do not have a lot of the technical expertise yet to move the ship the rest of the way. That's why a new TPW, that's why bringing on the facilities director. These are critical, crucial management roles in running a town, and the town has been without them. So there's some critical positions that need to be filled that will help us further move in the right direction. So that's one of them. The transfer station is going to take some analysis. And again, now that I have someone to help me do some of the analytical work, I can provide some information to the town manager. But just know this, I'll be coming to this body within the next 2 or 3 months with some as it relates to water rates that are going to need to go up and sewer rates that are going to need to go up, because we have a $16 million water treatment plant and a $32 million sewer treatment plant. The water treatment plant is going to go online first. So again, those will be our priorities, that and the golf course, because we realize that we've been subsidizing it to some extent over the last 3 to 5 years. So I understand the importance, but the transfer station will, it's running, it's functioning. It seems to be of value to the residents, and the town manager is really holding his attention to that matter right now.
It's a great resource for the town.
Yeah, I think
First,
you'll
so
have
you
people
think
that love it and people that hate it.
You know, and one, just for the newer people too, Tony, the golf course, if I remember correctly, they paid off their biggest bonds just a couple of years ago, right?
That's correct.
And so technically, if we weren't in COVID, you know, in the pandemic, we probably would be seeing plus signs from there, correct?
We, what really killed us, and first of all, golf overall was on, and you'll see it, one of the simple graphs is what's our golf revenue, right? And you're going to see an annual decline over the last 5, 6 years. But that's the industry. The industry has declined. The funny thing is, when COVID hit, and I've been reading publications on this, is there was a kind of a reprioritization of time. One, it's one of the few things that you could go out and do. All right. It was a physical activity, but it also brought new members to the game. And that hasn't happened in a long time. New members coming to the game were not meeting pace with the members leaving the game. And so there's talk in the industry and the trade magazines that this could have some sticking. There could be a reprioritization of time and people spending time out doing some things outdoors and playing that activity, that there could be an upward tick. I can say this, for the period that we measured while we were back open with carts, we were up 12% from last year. Overall, we didn't, because we shut down for, April, May, June. But when we finally got open full time, we could do a comparative to prior year, we were up over 12%.
Tony, did that like exclude some of the tournaments and stuff, or did we end up getting those back just at a different timing?
We lost a few,
Yep.
and a few did go punch over to the next fiscal year that might have hit the prior fiscal year.
Yep.
But I'm in that arena. I play a lot of golf. Know a lot of golf owners or managers, and they saw 12 to 15% above prior year.
That's nice. Hope it sticks.
Yes,
Yep.
we do.
Okay, does anybody have anything else they'd like to bring up? Any more questions, comments?
So
Okay.
this is Kathy. So I wonder if
Okay.
it might make sense to put on a agenda item to talk about a process or some guidelines around when we approve something, for example, the High Street Dam, is there some kind of a process where we can have it be where we're automatically sort of bringing it back to the table for an update? And maybe that's based on a dollar amount, or I don't know, but I'm just wondering if it makes sense to kind of have a running list so that there's action taken and we get information back once we approve things. And it could also be for like subcommittees. I know I'm waiting, I keep delaying it because of the timing of the actual bonding, but like, I'd like to give an update on what's happening on the George Mitchell Elementary School and where we are. And I think it's a good time to do that because we just awarded the construction budget. But maybe like even the fire station, I don't know what, like, if there are things like that, maybe we can have a conversation just to talk about that.
Well, so what you need to do is tie into what we're doing. So I'm assigning different individuals to certain things. So Laurie Garini is the one that oversees any of the expenditures that relate to engineering. Okay, so if the body wanted to have an update on certain things that they approved outside of the operating budget, because you'll get your packet, if you didn't get it tonight, you'll get it tomorrow. The financial information, and there's certain projects, like no one asked about an update on Elm Street. I mean, that was a multi-million-dollar project. We would have been more than happy to give an update. So if you set the agenda on what you want to get an update on and you want some financial reporting, then I would just work into our financial reporting other funds. And I just make it standard op to give you an expenditure report or some balance sheet report. And if you wanted a narrative, then you would have to ask whoever's overseeing the project. And if it's not Michael, it would be like a zoo. And Michael would then have to delegate it. So I think the more specific you are on any appropriation in writing to the town manager and myself, the more apt will fit into our normal monthly reporting.
Tony, would that be done through the chairman or the secretary?
I would say it should be done. The secretary can do it on your behalf, but it really should come from your direction and the body's direction. At our last meeting, we voted we would like an update, and I would say plug into our normal updates. We'd like an update each quarter, each monthly. It depends upon the size of it. Yep. When you say it like that, then I get it on my team's agenda and I just say, add this to your monthly reporting, and I plug into it. If it's just asked as if it's a one-off, then that's sometimes how it can fall through the cracks, because we're loaded with all kinds of projects that are going on well outside the general fund. I mean, how about the $60 million construction project for the water department? You want to know where that is? What about the $30 million sewer project? You guys want to know what's going on with that? Again, Kathy and Nate, you know this, and Lil, we couldn't even get quorums.
Yeah, it's hard to discuss anything. We couldn't do it.
That's right. So we can bring all this information in. We get a report from our OPM that's running the water treatment plant. So
yeah, it makes complete sense to me, Kathy. I think that was a great point that you made.
So please just be specific in your request.
So should we just add it to our next agenda to talk about it as a group and figure out like maybe which items we think are
more direction you can
rise
give
to this level? Yeah.
Yep. I'll send Josh an email. I'm making a note right now.
I mean, I'm happy to go back through like the things that have been approved since I've been on and sort of look and see, like, make a recommendation about things that we might want to add to the list.
Yep. No, I think it's a great idea, Kathy, because we pass stuff and then we never hear of it again. It gets lost in everything else that's, the next thing that comes.
And maybe we can define like a threshold for anything over, 500,000 or whatever, like automatically goes on that list. And then we can pick and choose if there are certain smaller projects.
Right. I will. I'll send Josh an email asking him to add that to our next meeting agenda, and you had brought up the George Mitchell Elementary School. I know that you and I have been talking, at some point. I believe those meetings have been pushed forward on you too, right?
We have a meeting on, I think it's the 12th. I don't have my calendar in front of me. It's like the second Monday or the second Tuesday. Maybe Josh can help me, but that's our next meeting. And at that meeting, we are supposed to get sort of a overall, here's what we submitted initially when we went to the state for the project. Here's where we are now in terms of budget and we will have bonded. I don't know if I know they're meeting tomorrow night to approve the bonding of a big chunk of the construction budget. Tomorrow night, no, Wednesday night, I think it is, on the school committee. And so we'll have all that information as well.
They need to award the bond issuance.
Is that, I'm sorry, I didn't know the terminology. So yes, so they need to award it, but they're making a presentation for that on Wednesday, I believe.
Yeah, because there was a premium on sale on bond and the interest rates in the marketplace. Again, bond counsel will not give us, the bottom line is they're doing all the paperwork, but this is our obligation. And all towns, Bridgewater's financials were used to determine this bonding rating. And this is significantly, the interest is significantly better because we improved our bond rating last year.
Yeah.
Helped us with our last issuance, and clearly it's helped us with this issuance. Although the school has to process all of that, it's just important that this body knows that it's all based on the financial information of the town of Bridgewater.
And it's really great news to share.
Yep.
So as soon as we have that meeting, because I have had it on the agenda, like talking to Nate for a few times now, a few of our meetings, but we haven't gotten the information as the GMES committee, which I'm representing the finance committee on that. We haven't gotten that information all put together yet. They just did the bid and approved it. So.
Okay, well,
So
thank
I
you.
would like to come back and, talk a little bit about it and share that good news.
Great. No, we do appreciate it, Kathy. You stay on top of that for us. And so that'll be sometime in February. February meeting. Do we have anything else right now for additional committee discussion?
I don't, and I apologize. I have to leave in 2 minutes. I have another meeting.
Okay, so let's talk date. When should we meet next? Well, when would it be best to meet next?
I'd like the budget resolution document to be adopted sometime February 23rd, if we can pull it off. So whatever you guys need to do in order to see that happen, that would be helpful to me.
The 8th of February?
No.
Do we?
February 23rd.
You want it done by the 23rd, yeah.
That would be my objective for you, but clearly you set your own agenda. That's why I sent you the list of dates. I'd like you to look at that right away.
So we have a GMES meeting on the 8th.
On the 8th?
Yeah.
Okay. Any idea from any other committee members? How about the 15th?
That's fine. That's a holiday. I don't know if that matters to anybody.
Is it? No, the 22nd is the holiday, right?
I think it's
President's
observed
Day.
on the 15th. What?
President's Day is on the 15th.
It is? Wow, my calendar has on the 22nd.
Well, it's really the 22nd, but they observe it on the
Oh, it's
15th.
his birthday. Yeah, they don't have the holiday mark for the 15th.
I'm available.
I mean, I'm available. I'm available too. I'm just, didn't know,
Yeah.
I know with school vacation and stuff, how it affect people.
I'd be available. Chris,
I'm
how about
available.
you?
That's fine. Yep.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt here. If it's a town holiday, we can't. have
Oh, yeah, we can't do it.
Correct.
it. I mean, just-
See,
Sure.
Tony, I'm thinking of you.
Yeah. Well, what do? We want to try for the 16th, or are we gonna go all the way out to the 22nd group?
I can do the 16th.
All right.
I can too.
Because it's all about my schedule, but yeah.
I can do it.
I can do that too.
No,
Me
it's
too.
important. I want to make sure we have the quorums, so, okay, so the 16th at 6:30 PM will be the finance committee's next meeting.
Yep.
Okay, with that,
Is your subcommittee on the budget resolution going to meet before then?
Oh, Tony, you just took my question.
yeah.
Oh, sorry about that. Sorry.
That's all right.
Yes. Yes, and I was planning on reaching out to Eric too, the third member, and seeing when would be good for him.
Yeah, because we would have to meet if we, unless, right, in order to meet on the 16th for the full council, in order to get it to Tony by the
Yep.
23rd.
So how about the 8th, Julie, Tony?
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
works for me.
All
I
right, so,
don't, I'm here to help get this done.
okay, so let's do that. And so would you want to do 6:30, Tony, Julie? Does that work?
It's fine.
So Josh, will you please send a meeting invite for both of these meeting times for me, so it goes right to my calendar?
Sure.
That'd be greatly appreciated.
Okay, and I know Susie's got to go. Anything else real quick? Hey, if not, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion,
Motion-
so move, Susie.
So we
Second,
got Chris.
Kathy.
All right. Josh,
Nate,
aye.
Kathy,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Susie,
Yes, thank you.
Julie.
Yes,
The motion was approved. The meeting is adjourned.
thank you.
Okay, thank you,
Thanks,
everyone.
guys.
Okay,
Night,
have a good night.
everyone.
Night.
Good night.
Thank you,
Good,
guys.
everybody.